In this video, we're going to be looking at a verbal reasoning question type called Complete the Sentence. Some of this material has been taken from our verbal reasoning books, which you can find linked in the video description, alongside a free PDF with 20 questions for you to practice at home. So let's start by taking a look at the explanation from the book. These questions are about creating a sensible sentence that makes grammatical sense. To answer these questions, you need to read carefully and closely. If you pay close attention to all the words, then choosing the correct word will be easier. So some of this will rely on your general knowledge as well. So if we look at the example, you'll see what I mean. You have a sentence and three of the potential words are in brackets. So it's basically a multiple choice to see which of the words make the sentence make sense. So the North capital country of France, America, Europe is French, London, Paris. Now hopefully most of you will know the answer to this already, but just to show you how to work it out, in step 1 we read the whole sentence. You read every word like we've just done, and that will help you give you some sort of idea about what the topic of the sentence is about, like what they're trying to say. So we know it's something to do with countries and capital cities, and we're going to see how they relate to each other. So let's see how these relate to each other. In the first one, we've got capital. Now, capital can mean a capital city, like London and Paris. Countries can have names. So France, America, these are countries. And countries also have capitals. That's how they relate to each other. So we've got Paris is in France. So step 1 is to read the whole thing. Step 2 is to choose the first word. Capital seems to have a relationship with the words from all of the groups, so it's probably a good idea to start and see where that leads us. So the capital of France, America is London, Paris. Notice we've got rid of North and country, and we've got rid of Europe because it's not a capital and it's not a country. You should know that. We've also got rid of French, as that's a language and not a city or a country. In step 3, we have to make it make sense. So the capital of France is Paris. So with examples like this, it should be fairly straightforward and you should kind of see what's going on. But if you don't know the context, you don't have the general knowledge required for that particular question, then we would use trial and error to see what would work. So now that we've looked at the explanation, let's take a look at some of the questions that we've created specifically for this video. Question 1, again, we're going to read the whole thing through and see if we can figure out what they're trying to ask. The tutor, parent, student diligently studied, wrote, ran their desk, notes, class before the exam. Before the exam will tell me it's probably to do with the student. So let's have a look through. The tutor, parent, student diligently studied, wrote, ran. Now, I don't see tutor, parent, student running unless they're late for a class or something. But the rest of the sentence tells us it's to do with an exam and they're diligently doing something. So I'm going to remove ran from our options. And then we've got, I'm going to move to the last set of brackets. Diligently something, their desk, notes, or class. So they could be writing their notes or they could be studying their notes, and it's just before the exam, so I'm going to assume they're going to be studying their notes. So we're going to get rid of wrote and I'm going to go with studied, and the student's going to be studying. The tutor or parent isn't going to be doing the studying. And then what are they going to be studying? Are they going to be studying their desk, their notes, or their class? They're not going to be studying their class or their desk, so notes will be the final chosen word. Question 2, again, read it through, see if we can get some sort of context. The chef, waiter, customer skillfully threw, chopped, or placed the vegetables for the stir-fry dish, plate, or food. Now, it's to do with food and vegetables. I don't think throwing them is going to be one of the things that they're doing, any of these 3 characters, the chef, the waiter, or the customer. The word skillfully is not in the multiple choice thing, so I'm going to say that because it has skillfully, I'm going to remove customer and say that it's probably the waiter or the chef that's doing something skillful. Again, the bits that are not in the multiple choice brackets are vegetables for the stir fry and skillfully. That tells me it's probably going to be to do with preparing food. So I'm going to get rid of waiter and choose chef. The chef skillfully threw, chopped or placed. The chef is going to be chopping. They're not going to be throwing. Now you can skillfully place things onto a plate for presentation purposes, but as we've gone with chef, I think we're going to go with chopping for the final answer. And then the final set of brackets is going to be they chopped vegetables for the stir-fry dish, plate or food. Stir-fry food doesn't make sense. Stir-fry plate, well, plate is the thing the stir-fry goes onto. So I'm going to say it's a dish. Now, dish has two meanings. It could be dish as in the physical china plate, or it could be dish as in a type of food that's been created. And that's what we're looking at in this particular case. So the final sentence is, the chef skillfully chopped vegetables for the stir-fry dish. Question 3. The hiker rode, navigated, chopped through the dense forest, trees, grass using a map, axe, boot. Now, in terms of your general knowledge, if you know what a hiker is, that's really going to help you with this question. So a hiker is someone that goes walking in through mountains and things. So I don't think they're going to be chopping anything. So we're going to just remove that. I've also seen a grammatical thing that could give me some sort of clue. In the last bit, it says using a map, using an axe, using a boot. Now, if the answer was going to be axe, it would say an, and that would give it away. But it doesn't. So we're going to remove axe. Now, as we said, a hiker is someone that is walking through forests and like remote areas. They're not going to be riding. So we're going to remove that. So the hiker navigated through the dense forest, trees or grass. So it's not going to be grass. And like I said, hikers are going to be going through forests and mountains and things. So we're going to choose forest. And they're going to be navigating using a map or a boot. So it's kind of obvious what's going to happen there. We're going to get rid of boot. And your final sentence is, the hiker navigated through the dense forest using a map. Now sometimes you will get options that are very similar. So in this case we've got forest and trees. Now you can navigate through both. However, navigating through dense trees does not require a map. Navigating through a forest probably does. So you can be really careful about which one you choose. And the final example that we have, number 4, the artist, musician, photographer blended the colours on the canvas, camera, guitar to create, look or hear a masterpiece. Now, blended the colours is not within the brackets. That's like a fixed part of the sentence, which tells me that it's not going to be a musician who's going to be blending colours. A photographer could be, maybe if they're editing. And in the second set of brackets, that's also going to tell me that unless you're using a guitar as your paint board, you're probably not going to be blending colours with that. So we're going to get rid of that as well. And again, the third set of brackets, blending colours is a fixed part of the sentence. Therefore, hearing something is going to be out of the question in this particular sentence. So we're now down to an artist or a photographer blending colours on a canvas or a camera. Now, a photographer can blend colours like I mentioned, but probably during an edit. They're probably not going to be blending colours on a camera. So I'm going to get rid of that. And that also eliminates the photographer from this particular question as well. And we're left with the artist blended the colours on the canvas to create or look a masterpiece. Grammatically, create a masterpiece makes sense. Look a masterpiece doesn't. So that is our final sentence. So I hope you found that useful. Don't forget you can download the free 20 question PDF via the link in the description, as well as a copy of the full verbal reasoning books. To watch another verbal reasoning video, click on one of these boxes over here, and don't forget to like and subscribe.